Kartikeya, you're both doing a session with Amitabh Kant at the Global Summit. What are you going to be asking him? Give us an insight.
Well, I think that is something that we'd rather wait for the 25th of this month.
Right.
And let's not really get the cat out of the bag
doesn't
just
wanna
as
give it
yet.
away.
No,
Just
no,
as yet.
That's being secretive.
but I have one question for him. You know, challenges to soft power in times of war.
Right.
Because the soft power gets tested when you have hard powers fighting with each other. So when you have a Ukrainian front, the front in Azerbaijan open, then you have the Red Sea front. I call it a different front.
The Iran front.
Iranian front. Then you have the war in Gaza, which is taking place.
Israel, my God.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
Because soft power is about people-to-people contact.
And can I just add something to that, Kartik? If you have the time, please ask one question to him on my behalf. How on earth did you get all countries to agree on a joint statement, the New Delhi Declaration, with no reference made to Russia?
Absolutely. And for example, soft power. What was Vajpayee's policy on Kashmir? Soft power.
Yes.
It failed because of the position of the Pakistani army. Our FMR and Act East Asia policy, which is soft power. What tourism? You drive from Moreh and you go to Vietnam. That is soft power. Kaladan project, soft power. But the hard issues of a war in Myanmar has led to the collapse of the FMR, free movement regime.
Right.
And now we have a fence. So soft power is being challenged globally because of very divisive politics.
Right.
So there are challenges to soft power. I would like to really ask him that how will India negotiate it? Because India, there is one continuity. People don't understand. People think that there's everything about Prime Minister in context of discontinuity, but the Prime Minister's continuity in foreign policies, he's never off the book. He's not like any other politician.
Right.
He's always, he goes by the brief, one.
Yes.
And secondly, he has not got into any military alliance.
Yes.
That has been, I would say, kernel of the Indian foreign policy.
But it's a continuation of Indian
Continuation.
policy,
From Panditji to Narendra Modi, even Quad is not a military alliance. Every time we say it's not a military alliance.
Yes.
So in this context, how are we going to negotiate our soft power, smart power? Because hard power alliances are the biggest obstacle to movement of people. Capital moves.
Yes.
But it does not allow movement of people.
Right.
And maybe this is the reason,
Yes.
Sandeep, that, you know, India is one country that can claim to be actually on great terms with countries that are currently engaged in war.
Absolutely.
Whether
All
you
of
talk
them.
about Russia and Ukraine, I mean, if there's one leader who's picked up the phone and spoken to both President Zelensky and President Putin, it is Prime Minister Modi. You know, talking about the Israel-Hamas war, India can easily claim to have excellent ties with Israel, and we have great relations with the Arab world. The Prime Minister was there in Qatar and the UAE just last week, inaugurating Abu Dhabi's first Hindu temple, the UAE President referring to him as a brother.
Yes.
And I think this speaks to the point that Kartikeya just made, the fact that we're not part of any military alliances.
I've met the Prime Minister personally once. It was in 2015, I remember. It was the small meetings of 15 and 20 journalists organized by then, now late Arun Jaitley. A lot of people are asking different questions. He said, you're not asking me the question. So I always keep that in mind when someone says, what will Prime Minister do? He said, you are not asking me about reforms in UN. Why aren't we sitting there? So I would say that the Prime Minister's vision for India is bigger than what people think where India should be. So in context of what India thinks today, I would frame it through somewhere between Vishwa Guru and Vishwa Maitri.
Right.
If I have to give that answer to you, Vishwa Guru and Vishwa Maitri, because of what we did during COVID, we shared the vaccine, and Vishwa Guru as someone who can give direction, a sort of a thought direction, not a hard military direction, a thought direction. And I locate his thought direction also in one thing. We have a functional democracy, which is the best thing about this country. Post-colonial nations don't have functional democracies. Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, I don't count Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Look at what has happened in Indonesia.
Exactly.
Joko Widodo's son is fighting with Prabowo, Gibran.
It's already begun. The fun and games.
So, after Trump, what he did, the capital, his supporters, India is the beacon of democracy.
Yes.
with our own problems and failings,
Yes.
with our little Chandigarhs,
Right.
but we can still say we are the best.
We are the
And
best.
I think it's not just the democracy, it's also the economic prowess at play, Kartik.
Market.
And that is something which I think is, I'm not sure if that is something that Prime Minister Modi would want to refer to, and if that is something that he would want to remind people of. But broadly, I think...
But that's his power, I agree with you. That's his power.
I'll tell you, there was, when India in the 1980s and early 1990s was growing at a growth rate of under 4%.
Yes.
The
There was a
Hindu
term
growth
for
rate.
it.
Yes.
There was a term for it, which was called the Hindu rate of growth.
Yes.
Right. Today, the rest of the world, the developed economies are growing at that,
Yes.
pre-liberalization Hindu rate of growth.
Right.
And look at India's true Hindu rate of growth in 2024.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is something that we really need to exercise.
Yeah.
Terminologies, acronyms that Prime Minister Modi excels at,
terminologies and
and really talk about
great-
Hindu rate of growth
Yes.
2.0.
In fact, I was discussing this with a diplomat guest on my show yesterday,
Yes.
Sandeep, and I said, what do you think gives India the courage to speak its mind in no uncertain terms, the way it's doing now? For example,
Yes.
Jaishankar repeatedly defending India-Russia ties, taking jibes at the West, saying this is a relationship that we stand by, and the fact that we now have
Yes.
this India first approach.
Right.
What gives the Prime Minister the confidence? Is it the fact that he has a massive mandate and majority at home, or is it India's economic heft? It certainly is a
It's a
combination of both
It's a
those
combination
factors.
of Maitri and Vishwaguru, the Maitri and the Vishwaguru combination. India's smart power, never been a better time for it as we are poised for the next big leap. That's the theme of our What India Thinks Today Global Summit. Thank you, Kartikeya, Kartik and Neha. We're counting down to the TV9 What India Thinks Today Global Summit. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest in the run-up to the biggest and boldest summit yet. Season 2 of Dialogue with Barun Das has just been uploaded on the News9 Plus app. We leave you with a glimpse of this cerebral conversation with German football legend Oliver Kahn, where the Bundesliga player speaks of how he didn't want to be, surprise, surprise, a footballer. Download and watch the entire series. Thanks for watching.
This is your time. You will make it for us.
I would tend to think that you were more respected, less loved.
Goals are clear. I want to hear you all the 90 minutes shouting.
You went and almost appeared to be biting off the cheek of Henry Hegley.
Winning is easy. When you are losing, you show your real character.
You had a ligament torn during the 2002 World Cup final, right?
Don't talk about that.
Streaming on News9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.